How old was she when she passed?
91.
91. Wow.
Right. So, so I would go there and we would go we'd eat, she would eat and I drink coffee and we'd eat breakfast, whatever. I told you that. She saw the commercial. Remember I said she saw the commercial?
LifeLock.
Yeah. That was hilarious. So then I would walk her around. So I remember it was on a was it a Monday? No, it was a Friday. So on that Friday, I went there and we walked around the whole compound, right? When I say walked around, I pushed her in the chair and her nurse would come with me. Her nurse is named Celine. Super sweet. She loves Celine. So we would walk around the whole compound. And I remember we walked around once and then for some reason I went, let's do another lap. And I'd never do another lap. Like it's hot. Like, I'm ready to go and she's hot. So we go around another lap and then we go back and we get her out of the chair and she sits down on her bed. And as soon as she sat down, she went, kind of rocked a little bit. And Celine goes, "Are you dizzy? Miss Cox, are you dizzy?" She goes, "I think she's dizzy." And I went, "No." I said, "Mom, are you dizzy?" And she looked up at me and her face slumped and her eyes shifted to the side.
Oh.
And she just leaned into me. And I was like, she had a massive stroke. So we laid her down real quick, took her vital signs. Bro, heart like a bull, like just boom, boom, but just fine. Heart's fine. Everything's good. So we call my sister. What do we do? You want us to call 911? So we call 911. They come and get her. She's in the hospital within 15, 20 minutes.
Wow.
Hospital's right down the street. So bring her to the hospital. They say we can give her a drug. Maybe it breaks it up. They give her the drug. It doesn't work. Now what do you do? They're like, we can put her in the, we can put her upstairs. We can make her comfortable. We can do this. We're like, no, she's not. Like, we can give her a feeding tube. Like, at this point, she can barely communicate. She can't swallow. So, she had I forget what they call it, but there's a form where it says, like, you do not resuscitate. You do not do anything that will continue my life if I can't do these things. And so if I can't feed myself and do certain things that you don't do no procedures that will extend my life. So that's a feeding tube. That's like, there's all these things. And they're like, well, we can put her upstairs in the ICU. We're like, no. She has 24-hour care. We'll bring her home. And they were like, we can bring her to hospice. And we're like, she has 24-hour care. Like, she loves her nurses. She had a great nurse team. So they bring her back, and hospice comes in, and they just monitor her. Does it make sense? Like,
yeah.
they're not there. They come in once a day. They call a couple times a day, and they come in. And hospice is amazing. Like, if you've never been through, like, some people will tell you, oh, that's horrible. Listen, I don't know anybody that's had a bad experience with hospice. Like, they're awesome. So they come in. What's going on? They talk to her, or they try and talk to her. She can't talk, obviously. They basically give her pain medication. But she can't eat. She can't feed herself. So basically, you're waiting there. You're changing her. You're just waiting with her, and you're talking to her, and they give her pain medication. And so after a few days, she kind of slipped into, like, not a coma, but she just was sleeping. You could wake her up, but even then, it's like she's woken up and she can barely, she can, maybe pump your hand or something. And so then, like, the last 3 days, like, I was there, like, the whole time for literally, like, that, so it was like a week. So it was actually exactly 1 week, because it was the following Thursday. So the following Thursday, and I was there, like, I think I left, other than going home to go sleep and come back, I left one time to do a Zoom call and came back. And so it was me, my sister, my brother, and for a week, like, her family came in. Like, this is it. Keep in mind, too, she's been in hospice before. And after 2 weeks, she just got better.
Wow.
She'd had a massive stroke. I mean, listen, she's a Viking.
Yeah.
Like, she's a gangster, bro. Like, suddenly she just, one day she's sitting up and saying, I want to play bridge. What's going on? Why am I not at home? And you're like, what the hell's going on? Like, we're planning a funeral.
Oh my
What are you doing?
God.
And she's like, I want to be in my apartment. I don't want to be here. You're like, what's going? So
Jesus Christ.
So I remember my brother-in-law. He's funny. He goes, look, they have hospice come in. They give us all a big talk. We're all. And my ex-wife's there. She's a fucking mess. crying. She loves my mom. Crying, like my sister, everybody's upset and everything. We're sitting there. And my brother-in-law says, "Can I say something?" He said, "I just want everybody here to know that there is a good chance a week from now she's feeding the fishes out in the pond and asking to be taken for a walk." I'm just saying she's a Viking. We all know that. I mean, bro, we just burst out laughing. Like,
Yeah,
it was
that's good.
so, like, it was so boom. He's like, "So I know you're upset. This doesn't necessarily mean what we think. I mean, we've
Right.
been through this before."
Yeah.
Well, they had. I wasn't there. So, yeah. So I was there all the whole time, held her hand, and finally, you know, her breath gets, you know, she starts turning blue. You know, her breaths get deeper or further and further apart to the point where, I mean, like, she stops for like a minute, and then you think, "Oh my God, she's not breathing." Like, it's been a minute, and all of a sudden she goes, takes a deep breath, and then stops again.
Man, that's crazy.
Bro, it got to a point where it was like a minute and a half where you're like you know it's coming. I remember I walked outside. I said to my sister, she was on the phone. I go, "Helen, come, you got to come in. We walked back in, sat down. She took her last breath. I grabbed her hand, took her last breath. Minute and a half later, maybe 2-3 minutes later, be honest, her nurse, Celine, goes up, listens to her chest, bursts into tears, runs out of the room. And she just never breathed again.
Wow.
But here's the thing. Like, I was upset about it, but it was the best. Look, like my mom said this, you know, life's dangerous. Nobody gets out alive. Like, you're going to die. In the game of life, 91 died surrounded by her family.
Yeah.
I mean,
Doesn't
she
get any
fucking
better.
won, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't get
Big
better than
time.
that. Of all the possible scenarios, that's the best you can hope for.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it was it.
Fuck,
Really
man.
thought I was going to be able to get through this. I've told this story a few times. I think I've told it once without tearing up. But, so yeah, that was it. So it was, you know, a week later, we had the celebration of life or whatever, because she was in an urn, so it's not like a thing. You don't view the body.
Yeah.
And then like a week later, she was, we buried her with my dad in Florida National Cemetery or something. My dad was in the Korean War, so they put her urn with his urn there,
Wow.
Nice.
and that was it.
Wow.
So yeah, so I got to get out of prison. I got to be with her for 2 years. Best possible, like
Best
for
possible
sure.
scenario. For
right,
Sure.
Yeah.
right.
Most mothers probably don't get to experience that much time with their kids, especially towards the end of their life.
Listen, and I was such a shit as a son. If I hadn't gone to prison, I never would have spent that much time with her.
Right.
Because I wouldn't have felt obligated, and I had a completely different frame of mind where I'd have been like, "Well, I'm living my life, man. I'm living." It's like, well,
Right,
whoa,
right.
whoa. Then you go to prison, and you get your priorities straight, and you realize, like, every 2 weeks, bro. Like, I think she missed maybe 2 or 3 weeks when she had, when she had the stroke. So like, it was like a month and a half.
Yeah.
Like, she missed a few weeks, and then it was like, boom, I'm coming.
On my way.
Fucking,
Wow.
you're in a wheelchair. Well, I've seen people in wheelchairs.
Yeah.
bad-
They let them in.
That's awesome.
She's a badass. That's crazy, man.